Whether it's 5 people or 5,000, you're gonna get the same energy. It's all about the words for the people right here, right? So, as I was explaining to the gentleman to my left, sometimes I like intimate settings. Why? How often do we go to an open mic and the mic is filled up and we just hear poems? We don't hear the reason why they wrote the poem. We don't get to ask them no questions. We don't, none of that. So nights like tonight, able to have those type of conversations. When more people come, then we'll do the normal run through this thing. But for right now, we're just gonna do our thing. So I know this is your first time.
Here? Yes.
Yes, this is your first. What?
My first time ever reading a poem aloud. No.
So I met this gentleman. You're not going to go first. I'm going to go first, so nobody can say they went first. So I met this gentleman in Milford, but I'll tell you more about that in a minute. Me as a host, I hate doing poems, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to read something. So I'm writing a book, right? And I never realized how hard it was to write a book, how to vet your own poems to what is going to fit. And it's really, really a daunting task to be able to do. So I'm just now reading poems that I had just put away and see how they sound to me. This one, I should have made it for a bigger print, because I realized something. I'm getting older. My eyes are not as good as they used to be. These letters are small as hell for me to see when I'm reading, so I am more than likely going to skip over a few words and go back. So let's see. This is called America Loves to Tell Me. It seems white America loves to cheer me on and crucify me. My talent be the cross I bear as they nail me to it. See, I know how it feels to have America hand you trauma and tell you how to survive it, express it, tell your story as long as our conscience feels comfortable in it. Look inward, but don't tell how we PTSD'd you with the word nigga. Our children are not ready to hear that type of culture. Do you know what it feels like to have America give you a block to run and tell you how fast to move off it? How fast you can turn that block into gold, regulate the price, and your pain runs off it? I never wanted to be your messiah, whether athletic or prophetic. I just used my pen as a blunt force object to crush my own pain between these pages, because you like to sell dusty truth. So I blow smoke screens because my ancestors told me to hide my hurt. Because no matter how I pray on one knee or full stride, you still want to pray on me. So whenever the gun sounds, yes, I'll run. And my sweat be clear enough for you to see the pain in my skin. But be damn sure it'll be fast enough so you can't whitewash it. That's that. Your face.
Yes.
What you thought about that?
I think that it's difficult to be in a position where you have to question your identity and what you're told to be. I think it's difficult to have to sift through the image that's presented versus who you want to be. I think we're told to be one thing, and it's hard to push through that to figure out who you actually are. So to see that mirrored to you and then make that choice is difficult.
I'm gonna tell you why I wrote that poem. I wrote that poem because Camden Middle School, which is the suburb of New Haven, asked me to create sort of a TED Talk on social emotional learning and how to deal with bullying and different things like that. Because as a child, I was bullied, so I have a bunch of stories about that. And inside that 18-minute TED Talk, I used the word nigger one time. And they told me they couldn't use it because, as I said in the poem, their children, parents, would turn Hampton upside down if they knew that that word was being said or told to their children in that way. So nevertheless, my management made them pay me because no, he did the video. You decide you can't use it, you don't pay him. But so what happened was I turned that video into one of my first social emotional learning videos that I have on YouTube, but you gotta pay me to get the code to be able to use it. So they did me a favor, right? But that's where that poem came from. It came from Hamden. That part of white America telling me that my story is too much for their culture. Here's the kicker. 79.3% of the children are black in that school. So they weren't worried about the kids that it would help in that situation. They were worried about the ones who parents have the pockets. So that's the kicker for that. That's the kicker for that. So, all right. So let's get it together. Now, well, y'all ain't have to clap for me. I'm not important. Right? But what I do want y'all to do is that when other poets come up here to the mic, and I hope one or two of other poets sign up. I hope they do. I hope they have something to say or whatever. I'm gonna call up the first one. I want everybody to clap and make some noise for the poets to come up. So this first gentleman, I met him in Milford 2 days ago, day before yesterday. 2 days ago, told you I'm getting old, man. 2 days ago at a poet laureate showcase. He was there with his poetry group as well.
Poetry group, yeah.
With his poetry group, and they did a group poem. And most of y'all know I'm a slam poet. Well, I came from slam culture. I gotta stop saying that because they be trying to pigeonhole the hell out of us when we say we're slam poets. I'm a poet that happened to do slam, but they did a group piece, and it was the contrast between the two was interesting to see. So I hope you get a chance to see what group pieces mean to us and how we formulate them sooner than later. So please give it up for Simon Edges.
I'm not going to fall over, I promise. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I moved to Connecticut in 1989. I moved to Milford in 1990. I was a sophomore in high school. Me and my friends, I was a skateboarder. Me and my friends used to take the bus from Milford to New Haven. We'd skate Audubon Street, we'd skate Beinecke, we'd skate all these places. My mom doesn't know, but she's watching this, so hi Mom. But yeah, we used to skateboard in New Haven when I was a kid, so I have a very long history with New Haven. I've taught in New Haven. This is my 20th year teaching in New Haven. So I taught at Hill House for 10 years. I worked downtown for 3 years at the Board of Ed, and then I work at Sound School now. So I've worked at Sound School for 7 years, I guess, or this is my 7th year. I run, even though I can't even walk. I do run. This poem that I'm going to read is actually, I wrote it on top of East Rock. I used to live in Milford, and I would ride my bike to New Haven, and I would just go to East Rock because it was really nice scenery for me. And I'd just sit on top of East Rock, and I'd write poetry. I'd have a backpack while I rode my bike. I'd go up to the top of East Rock, I'd write poetry, and then I'd ride back home in Milford. So I really feel like I belong in New Haven. This poem is about New Haven. It's about my religion, and it's about New Haven. It's called On Faith. So I'm gonna go ahead and read that. On Faith. Cracked asphalt, long retired from use by a heavy steel gate as a security measure against rogue souls who took lives or to protect those who lost theirs, leads the way up the backside of East Rock for those who wish to ascend under their own power, zigzagging steadily, a moderate pitch, rising in contrast to sheer walls of tan trap rock, stained darker in streaks of cascading spring thaws and adolescent spray cans, confessing love and presence. The ancient frame under me creaks, a French 10-speed, older than I, complaining as I do all the work, pumping legs pushing, the whole rig forward, steadily climbing towards a purpose no greater than destination, the top, crowded with cars and kids, and adults trying to steer both. My sweat boils to the surface, free from the steady drying wind of cruising speed, and pours in tiny rivers, cutting channels through dust-drenched skin, darkening cloth of shirt and pant, before dripping onto pavement, instantly evaporating into already humid air. The periphery of onlookers seemed disinterested in the view. The only reason they stepped out of air-conditioned Escalade and Yukon, adventurous spirits, exploring the savage lands of New Haven in outfitted four-wheel drives. I walk my one-wheel drive Peugeot to a stacked stone wall, lean it up against the tan rock, and walk to the edge. The streets of the city stretch perpendicular, a gridwork of grays under cloud shadows, sliding and distorting over treetops and buildings and contours of the landscape, the cluster of downtown, natureless in contrast to the surrounding green of Woodbridge and Orange, evidence of man-made sparks from the bird's eye, not even a thin trail of smoke rising from some chimney of some sylvan home, but downtown stands as proud monument to years of living without nature, surrounded by nature. In the midst of the sprawl of concrete and brick, from the long swaths of green land, framed by asphalt rivers, ferrying cars and buses, rise the spires of 3 Protestant churches, almost 200 years old, reminders to passers-by, monuments to God's everlasting glory, as their white-capped peaks unceasingly stretch towards the heaven just out of our reach. But on the edge of the town, rising behind industrial complexes and the slums of the State University, extending into the wilds of Woodbridge, above Dam Reservoir, stands the sister, West Rock, now deserted, though once thriving with picnics and tourists, children and American steel, Whaley and Gough. Hidden from view away to the north lies the awkward round hills of an ancient giant, the crown of his head scraped away by industrial vandals, his left hip weighted down by a romantic tower from which one might view the surroundings without nature standing in one's way. And I stand alone on top of this crag, contemplating longevity, contemplating trinities, the 3 peaks of man, built in God's name, the 3 peaks of God, rising even higher. How long will it take for the spires of God to crumble, and how long his mountains on faith? That's it. Thank you.
You want to do another?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Longer or shorter? I'll do a short one.
Okay.
So this poem I wrote at home, but I worked on it with a friend at West Rock. I met him one day. He was a friend of a friend, actually. He was a poet too, so he kind of worked on this with me, and we revised it a little bit. And it's kind of experimental, and it's been experimental from the beginning, but it's even better now. So this one's called Turn Around, and I'll tell you what it's about afterwards. Turn around. We never stop each other from doing what happens when we stop ourselves, talking out of turn, acting out of place. We don't want to stop ourselves when we don't feel as we should. The surface levels out, becoming a flat line, insignificant. The surface levels out. When we don't feel as we should, we don't want to stop ourselves, acting out of place, talking out of turn. When we stop ourselves from doing what happens, we never stop each other. Turn around.